Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, the soccer show that tells you everything that's going on. And we got to that stage where the Championship has started and the Premier League starts this weekend. Budge and I are going to talk, before we speak to our international pundit Stevie B in London, we're going to be talking about the 5 that are going through from last year's competition. And in a week's time, we start the big one, the big one, where there are prizes to fly you overseas to watch a team of your choice. So, Budge, it's the right time of the year now.
Yeah, for at least the times are right as well, so there's no excuse not watching games at 10 o'clock at night at midweek. But pressure on the 5 guys, Paul. I've spoken to them all and sent them all their previous picks and the picks they can still use. So,
I see you've written here teams that can be chosen.
Yes.
So 2 can pick United, 1 can pick Chelsea, 5 can pick Everton, 2 can pick Villa, and 2 can pick... Is that a bit accurate?
That's, because obviously they've used nine. They've gone 9 round, Paul. So they can't use Liverpool against Norwich. But those look like their best picks. 3 of the 5 have come through. I won't let anybody know what they are. But none of them can pick Arsenal, which is the opening game on Friday.
Well, they won't win Arsenal. Brentford will roll them at Brentford. But Steve will give us more on that.
Yeah.
So, but then Budge next week. Yeah. The word's got to get out there.
Yeah. Paul,
it's a wonderful prize, Budge. You've done it a few times. You've taken the winner, watched the game of their choice, and none better than, of course, George Salensis, who went to watch Liverpool roll Barcelona 4-0 and get them at the final. So it's a wonderful trip. It's all laid on. I
went to see the 2 guys who still want to go, Vivian Woodley and Greg Veal. I saw them both yesterday, and they're itching, Paul. But obviously we're on the red light district, so we're under pressure.
Yeah, but by the time they go, Everton will have been relegated. So that's the story. But Budge, is there anything else on the last one, Stanley?
No.
So we can get over to Steve. Steve, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning, Steve. Still warm in London?
Yeah, just starting to warm up again.
Good.
Like a Durban winter.
Durban winter. It's only 32, Steve.
Yeah, Durban winters get really warm. But Steve, we've got a few things to discuss with you, and I see Budge has written up some lists. But before we talk about show topics, did you watch the Super Cup final, Steve?
I did, yeah. I thought it was a good game. I mean, as a sort of precursor to the season. Chelsea, I thought they had it in the bag in the first half, but sort of seemed to get a bit sort of sloppy in the second, and Villarreal deserved to get back in it. But they finished the stronger Chelsea, and very interesting tactic to bring on Kepa, who justified the selection as a penalty saver.
Yeah, it doesn't say much for Mendy, the other goalkeeper, does it? But 71 million for a goalkeeper to save a few penalties. But I agree. I thought they were slightly the better team. My question is, Steve, why do they have it at the beginning of the year? Couldn't they have waited 3 or 4 weeks when they're both fit? Or doesn't the calendar help out?
I think it's in the calendar. It's always been early. It hasn't always been before the season. Sometimes it has taken place sort of a couple of weeks into the season. But and it's probably, look, for both clubs, it was probably a little bit too soon. And I think the last thing that Thomas Tuchel really wanted was extra time last night. Especially when they've got a Premier League game coming up. But he took a big squad out there and he sort of chopped and changed a little bit. And I think they showed some good form in patches.
Yeah. Talking of form, PSG signing Messi. How financial fair play? They may as well scrap it, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
What do you think about the signing?
I mean, it is laughable. I mean, obviously, PSG are trying to justify it, saying that they know it's costing whatever it's going to be, 100 million, but they expect to recoup that on commercial revenue. And it may well be true. They might sell a million Messi shirts with the number 30 on, and recoup some money. But look, I was reading in France, their wage bill is 4 times higher than the nearest team, and about 20 times higher than the average French side in the first division. It is quite laughable, but I did also read that they are probably going to have to offload a few players to I'd say not even balance the books, but at least to get them close.
Yeah, they've got no chance, especially with all the high earners. Talking of high earners, Romelu Lukaku on his way to Chelsea. Does that make them closer to Man City, Steve?
I mean, he came. He was in the UK last night. I understand he's passed his medical, and I think the signing will be announced today. So, look, big money signing when you think that he was on their books a few years ago. But I think Chelsea, without doubt, needed someone who can sort of score 20 goals plus. And I think if you look at his form in Europe in the last couple of years, he's probably as good as anybody. So they might have to change their style of play a bit because they've sort of played with a false nine at times. But now they've got as good a centre forward in Europe as there is.
Steve, just one question. Someone spoke to me about his career. Now, he was at Chelsea when he was 17, but he was behind Drogba and someone else.
Salah.
Two legends ahead of him. Then he moved to United. Who were the strikers when he was at United?
Well, he was the main one. We had Rashford. It was him and Rashford mainly, and Martial. Those were the three.
And then, he's just absolutely slaughtered it since he's left there. Internationally, club level. So he's certainly a top player. As you say, one of the best in Europe, Steve.
He's obviously sort of bloomed a little bit later, should we say. But there's no question he has the credential. And I think Chelsea have looked at it and thought, look, it's a lot of money, but, that could be the difference for them being genuine title contenders.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think they signed the wrong centre forward, but...
who could they have signed?
The right centre forward for Chelsea, in my opinion, is a guy we're going to talk about now, Harry Kane. Because he's a tailor-made for them. Even in Man City, I think Lukaku should have gone to Man City. But
I think you're right, but with the history between the clubs, I think
it was never going to happen.
Never going to happen. No, it's like selling them to Arsenal.
Levy would have been prepared to sell Harry Kane to Chelsea.
Do you know, Steve, I looked at the latest dispatches coming out of White Hart Lane, and Harry's back training alone because of the COVID. He's training alone. I think it ends today, and Nuno's going to make a decision whether he's going to play him or not. Nuno's looked at his sides. He hasn't even looked at Ndombele. They're looking to let that ex-Spurs boy go. Is it Sessignon? The ex-Fulham boy, I should say. Ex-Fulham guy. Let him go back into Europe. Skip looks certainly to start alongside Højbjerg. He's played so well. So I don't know what's going to happen. We brought these new guys in. And Romero, I think, will start.
Okay.
Gil might not. He's just got in.
In the Olympics as well.
Bergwijn did well in the friendlies. So I don't know if he's going to play his players off the friendlies, but it's a hell of an opening game, even though it's at White Hart Lane.
Oh, look, I mean, it's a huge game, and maybe Tottenham might feel this is a good time to play City. They're without one or two. We know De Bruyne is injured. Foden's out for about a month. Some of their guys have only just got back, but the Harry Kane situation obviously got a huge question mark. He came out last weekend with that statement which seemed to contradict sort of Tottenham's about sort of saying he always planned to come back a week late. Well, my understanding is that wasn't necessarily the case, but the decision will have to be made before the end of the transfer window, and for him as well. Because if he is to stay, he's just going to roll his sleeves up, get on with it. I mean, I think as an England captain, he has a responsibility to behave in a certain way, and sort of downing tools, as it were, or sulking, or maybe not, giving his all, is not how I think he should be responding as England captain. On the other hand, he must feel a bit aggrieved that he felt genuinely that there was a gentleman's agreement that he could go to City, provided that the price was right.
Yeah, where he's been? He's been, I think, in Barbados at Lewis's place. Now, Lewis has got this place. Lewis is the main boy at Enoch, where the main money. Yeah. And he's been staying at his place. So the Spurs have always been aware of where he's at and what he's doing. And as I say, there's a bit of a dispute on when he came back. But, I wouldn't play him. That's just my say. I wouldn't play him against City. There's too much in the air.
I'm not sure if he hasn't been training with the team, if his head's not in the right place. We know he's a great player, but if he plays and he plays badly, then that's not going to help anybody. So,
put him on the bench, bring him off for 20 minutes. That's what I would do. He's still your best player. I would definitely put him on the bench. And if he's going to get abuse from the fans anyway,
so be it.
So rather get up and say, I'm going to play. I made a mistake. The Spurs fans will give him because they forgive him. They all love him. But I would definitely put him on the bench. Steve, the last topic we got before we go into our Premiership previews, the update on the VAR decisions. What is,
So I think, obviously, look, we know there's been a lot of controversy, and there are sort of three main areas that they're looking to change slightly. The first is the offside rule. So what what they're saying is that, last year they think about 20 goals were ruled off where players, for example, as a classic was that Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, the
his
hand.
sort of torso
Right.
was behind the opponent, but he was pointing where he wanted the ball and he was given offside. So what they're saying is they're going to draw a thicker line, and things like the arm or the armpit won't count as to make you offside. So they're going to give the attacker the slight benefit of the doubt, which is a good thing,
Good
because
rule.
there was some
Good
of them were
rule.
so marginal, and you want to see sort of play. The second was the sort of accidental handball on the way to goal.
Yeah.
We've seen in the past where somebody may have the forward's hand in a build-up of the move to a goal, and then they've looked back and they've disallowed it. What they're saying is if it was accidental, then that wouldn't be as worthy of overturning a decision. And the third is the one that is, again, very controversial, the soft penalties, where there's sort of minimal contact, and it's only because they've looked at it 20 times on a freeze framing that they can see there's a little bit of contact, and they're saying that unless it's a blatant error, they won't give those. So I think the idea is they want to see a little bit more leniency on these technical VR decisions, but it remains to be seen.
I think 3 positive steps.
Yeah, as long as it's quicker. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
That going down to a millimetre to try and see if he's offside. or not
7
is a
times,
joke.
and 8 angles. It's getting like rugby. It's getting the lines first half 65 minutes for 40 minutes of rugby.
Crazy. Steve, on to the Premiership. We kick off tomorrow night with, I think, your second favourite team in London, Brentford, against Arsenal. How do you see it?
Yeah, look, it's a huge game for Brentford. First time back in the big flight, and obviously first time in the Premier League, full house. It's going to be an interesting test for them. They haven't strengthened that much, and they brought in Chris Ajer from Celtic, a couple of other players, but they're not. They don't have the finances to go out and splurge 100 million. So I think Thomas Frank is sort of hoping that their style of play will rise to the Premier League. I think it's a big game for Arsenal. I think Arsenal if they want to show any intent, they've got to. This is the game they've got to show and say, look, we're title contenders, but maybe top 4 contenders, and they've got to go their sort of mindset. They haven't brought Ben White in, but otherwise no real changes there. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Arsenal go there and get a result.
Steve, just a quick question. You been to the Brentford ground?
New ground, no. It's pretty much only open now for a full house. I think they played one game.
Yeah.
From
What type of crowd can get in there?
I think the capacity is about 17.
That's all.
So it'll be a capacity crowd.
Gee,
pretty much
smaller
every
than
game.
Dell.
Jeez, Man United have got 2 stands bigger than that. But, anyway.
Yeah, they
Spurs
were
have got one,
slightly
the wall.
bigger stadium, but ultimately, they did have a capacity of 12,000 before.
Yeah.
So it's gone up. It's bigger than Bournemouth, who were playing in the Premier League with a capacity of 12,000. So
That's amazing. That shouldn't
I
be
didn't
allowed.
realise that.
looks
No
like
wonder
tidy
they were
little
selling all
ground.
their Ollie
Yeah.
Watkins and Ben Rami and those guys.
Yeah.
Steve, you're talking about Man United. Man United Leeds.
Yeah, well, last year was probably one of United's best, if not best, sort of home game. They scored a hatful of goals. It was a very open attacking game. You'd like to think it would be something similar. Interesting to see how Sancho fits in his first game. Varane probably might not be available. They're expecting the signing to go through today. I think it's a game that United have got to try and target if they want to be contenders again. This is one, but Leeds, we know from last year, you're not quite sure what you're going to get from Bielsa, but I think they won't be scared of them. I think it'll be a good game. I think there'll be goals. I just fancy United might edge this one again.
Steve, they're both Uniteds. Which one, Man United or Leeds United?
Yeah, Man United.
All right. Now, your brother's team, Watford, who got promoted last year, won the last 9 games at home against an Aston Villa side.
No Skip, no Grealish.
That's right. They're both skipped.
Yeah, but I think Villa have done some good stuff. Obviously, they were resigned the fact they knew that Grealish would go.
Yeah.
But they've spent that money. They brought in Buendia very early on from Norwich, who was the playmaker for them, and they brought in Leon Bailey, by Leverkusen, and Danny Ings. And I think that Ward-Prowse from Southampton And I think Villa are going to be, tough
Where's
enough to
Ward
crack,
Prowse?
especially for a team like Watford. I just fancy. I'm not sure Watford have strengthened sufficiently for the step up, and I think Villa might just edge that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Talking of edges, Steve Bruce, every time he walks out of St James's Park, he's on edge. Newcastle versus West Ham.
Yeah, well, Newcastle are definitely trying to bring Joe Willock in, who sort of basically helped turn their season around.
Yeah.
They've agreed a fee of 25 million with Arsenal, but can't agree personal terms. So he obviously feels that he's got the whip hand. He thinks he helped save them, and he wants to get paid accordingly. West Ham, is strongly, and no reason to assume that they're not going to start strongly. So I think it's going to be a tight game. It wouldn't be at all surprised if West Ham at the very least won them.
Where's Lingard?
Be on the bench for Man United tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Stephen, the upset of the weekend, Spurs against Man City. How do you see it?
I would be very low. Obviously, you can't really count what we in the Community Shield. City rested quite a few players. I think if De Bruyne is out and Foden out, that's a big miss for them.
Yeah.
In that first game, Tottenham will want to put on a good show. I think it will be tight. City should be favourites, but Tottenham have beaten them, a couple of times.
Last three times at White Hart Lane, Steve.
So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Tottenham could hold City.
Yeah,
Interesting to see.
I'll take a draw now.
How Jack Grealish does.
Give us a
lot
draw
of pressure
for
on him, I
COVID.
think, first game, especially with De Bruyne not there.
Yeah. Okay, so you're on. Got a funny feeling Spurs will upset the apple cart. Steve, on to the Championship. I know we spoke on Sunday about your boys throwing it away. Can you see you getting back to winning ways, beating Huddersfield on Saturday?
I hope so. We're still a couple of players short. I do know that we are looking to let a couple go, and we are looking to bring two or three in. We've got Harrison Reed was out injured. We're hoping that he's back. I think he's a key player for us, Harrison Reed.
Yeah.
I think if he's back in the team, I fancy us to get Nick a win. Harry Wilson looked very good on his debut. But,
he played well.
Same old Fulham last weekend. We didn't take our chances, and then got Middlesbrough quarters out. Shot on target and nicked a point. So it'd be disappointing not to get a result up there, but I think it will be close.
Where's Mitrovic?
He played.
He's playing, but unfortunately that you wouldn't know he is.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
All right, he seems to have lost his mojo a little bit. He just doesn't look sharp.
Okay.
I agree. Talking of Middlesbrough, you drew 1-1 with them. Do you see them beating Bristol City?
I think they could. I think that. I think he's. As I say, he's a wily campaigner. He might have one or two players back from injury. He put out a weakened side in the EFL last night, and they lost 3-0 at Blackpool. But I felt and Bristol City struggled a little bit. I understand last week themselves. It's all surprising. Middlesbrough.
Yeah. Notts Forest, I watched them the other day.
They won last night.
Yeah, they won the League Cup, but they were beating Coventry 1-0, and then they just
lost.
put the brakes on. Coventry scored 2 goals late. Can they upset Bournemouth?
That'll be a tough game for them. Bournemouth played well. Bournemouth had one or two injuries, played some young kids, but they're going to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I think. Forest certainly. I watched it, and I thought that once they were 1-up, that would be it. But Coventry came back strongly and probably deserved to win in the end. I think that will be a close game. I can't see Forest winning it though.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, West Brom, I was really impressed with them, the 2-2 game against Bournemouth.
Yeah, good
You think
game.
they'll be too good for Luton?
Yeah, I think so. I think of the teams at the weekend, having watched a few games and saw a highlight, West Brom for me looked the strongest team.
Totally
He
agree.
plays in a certain style. Valérien Ismaël, he's got strong forwards. He's got a big defence, and in a way, they were a bit unlucky not to win at Bournemouth. Probably the result that suited us, but they look strong to me, and I don't think they'll be strengthening the squad much more. I think any team that finishes above West Brom probably get promoted.
Yeah, totally agree. And last but not least, Swansea City against a disappointing Sheffield United.
Yeah, Swansea had a good win during the week in the EFL against a Wigan Reading team.
Yeah.
I thought Swansea would struggle a little bit after, and they're certainly not favourite to get into that top 6. But they started off okay. Sheffield United sort of huffed and puffed but probably Birmingham, I think, just edged it, with the chances they created. So it's going to be a close one. I think again, could well see Sheffield United be hard to beat, but I think Swansea could hold them.
Steve, you know what I saw with all the relegated teams, obviously yourself, it tended to take them about 40 minutes to get into the game, the speed of the game, because the Championship's more direct than the Premiership. And I think Sheffield United fell into that trying to play football, where Birmingham were Route 1 with big centre forward.
They were. Birmingham looked a decent side.
They did look a good
side. They took their chance. They created a future. I mean, I looked at the stats. They had something like just over 20% possession. But when they got the ball, they used it, got it forward quickly, and created a few chances. So, I think Jokanovic knows the Championship. You think he'll sort that out. Yeah. And Rhian Brewster managed to get his first goal, so it's got sort of monkey off his back a little bit, I think, for him during the week, having not scored at all last season. So, look, they've still got a strong squad, Sheffield United. They're going to be there or thereabouts, and I think they'll be very disappointed with that. But I think they're in for a tough game at the weekend.
Okay, Steve, with all the technical problems we've had, thanks for waiting for us. I need your best bet and your best value bet, please.
Yeah, tricky. For Everton as well, my best bet. I fear for Southampton a little bit. Yeah. I mean, having sold Danny Ings, and it looks like a deal's just been done. They're selling Yannick Vestergaard to Leicester, who's really the bedrock of their defence. If you look at the spine of their team last year, to lose Ings and Vestergaard and not replace them adequately, I think that you're in for a tough game. The rumour is that Richarlison is going to actually go straight back into the team. He's not having a break after the Copa America, so I think that could make a difference for them. They've not had a great pre-season, but I just think they'll be a little bit too strong. Yeah,
your value bet, Steve?
A value bet, I'm going to go for Burnley. I think, they're hard to beat at home. I don't think, neither Burnley or Brighton have really strengthened, and I'm not sure that I'd have Brighton as favourites for that. So I think, Burnley at home, there's no reason why they can't pinch a win.
All right.
Lovely.
Steve, thank you very much, and thanks for your patience with the technical problems, and we'll speak over the weekend.
Right. And we're not starting last one standing till next week.
That's correct, yeah.
Start plotting.
Okay, good.
All right, Steve, all the best, eh?
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, bye.
Cheers, bye. Right, there we go. That was Stevie B. Budge. Right, let's get into these games. Straight into Premiership Friday night.
Well, I'm all over Arsenal. I just like what
you like them, eh?
Yeah, I just think Brentford haven't really done much, and it's a big game. And I think Brentford's season is what they do at home. Away from home, they 8 to 10. I think is a good bet. Man United, Paul. I think this is a trap game for us.
5 to 10.
I wouldn't be taking that. I think the goals, over 2.5 goals is 6 to 10. I'd rather take that. But Leeds won 10 of the 19 away games last season.
That's very good, eh?
Bucket
man does a good job.
The Bucket man, they'll be fit and ready to come, Paul. So at lunchtime, there's normally upsets at lunchtime. So I'm hoping United get off to Man United, but I wouldn't be taking 5 to 10.
Okay, how about Burnley Brighton?
Paul, the stat that I pulled out, which I couldn't believe, Burnley's last 10 home games last year, they drew 5 and lost 5.
Wow.
But, Brighton didn't end off the season well either. They only won 2 of their last 11, I think it was. So I think this has got a draw written all over it. And remember, Chris Wood was at the Olympics with New Zealand, and he's their main centre forward.
That's right.
So Brighton have got a lot of injuries. Rumours are man Percy Tau, they may be looking to sell him to Al Ahly. That's the rumour, but hopefully he stays and plays.
Yeah, Crystal Palace got it all to do.
Paul, Chelsea last night, tough game, but first game of this
10 to 1 Palace.
Yeah, Paul, Vieira, a lot of youngsters, but they'll be fit and firing, Paul. But Chelsea, I think they're a major threat this year, Paul. 1 to 4, look good things. Yeah.
Okay, and then Alverton and Southampton.
Paul,
Stevie's big on Everton.
Yeah, I think he's big on Everton because Southampton are woeful. You can't sell Danny Ings and replace him with Adam Armstrong from Blackburn. If Vestergaard goes, they're in serious trouble. They lost the left back. 8 to 10, 9 to 10.
But they're famous for selling.
The last 12 home games, they've only won 2 Everton.
Yeah, they're sold.
Can't
it's cost them. I'd hate to be Hasselhoff or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Right, but let's look at the next page.
Second page, Paul. Yeah, we got Leicester. The way they played last week, Paul, I was really impressed with Leicester. I like them. Harvey Barnes, if he'd have been fit, they'd have gotten the Champions League. Wolves, Raul Jimenez is back, but I've watched him a couple of times. I just don't like what I see at Wolves, Paul. I think lesser certainties.
Take the 6 to 10. Okay. Watford, Aston Villa.
Paul, I like Aston Villa, but just reading through the lines last night, they've got several guys they've got several injury doubts. But I saw 16 to 10 Danny Ings to score any time, Paul. That's my bet in that game.
It's a short price.
Paul,
what happens if he gets injured? You do your money.
Do your money, Paul.
Okay.
I like Aston Villa, the two teams.
Okay.
Watford, Vicarage Road, they won the 9 league games to come up. So it'll be a close game, but I like Villa, Paul.
Norwich on the coast, entertain Liverpool.
No, I don't see it, Paul. This depends. Even with the boys at the back, they should be Liverpool, Paul. Salah had a very quiet, break. Liverpool.
Yeah.
Gomez is back, Van Dijk's back.
Is Van Dijk back training in there?
Yeah, he's back, Paul. 3 to 10, but I think there'll be goals in it. But to take 3 to 10 Liverpool, not for me.
Newcastle, West Ham, interesting game, I thought.
Paul, West Ham, Lingard played last time. The only away game they've lost, I think in the last 5 or 6 West Ham, was at Newcastle. But then I remember the centre-half got sent off just before half-time.
Yeah.
Newcastle, Alan St. Maxim, good player him. He's reportedly injured. I don't know if Willock's going to be signed in time. But if he is, it'll be a close game. I like West Ham, Paul. I think Mikel Antonio's back. Boys has got them firing in pre-season. I like West Ham.
Tottenham are 42 to 10, 5 to 10 Man City. They are the champions. They won the league comfortably. But the last 3 times they come to town, they've lost to Spurs.
Paul, I wasn't impressed with them last week. You can't, unless Messi's your number 9, De Bruyne is out. Who's going to play in that role? And I like Nuno. This could be an upset, Paul. I'm not a Man City lover.
I'm going to funk for a draw.
Yeah, I just think it could be an upset.
All right, let's go to... When is that game?
That is Sunday.
So no one can phone me after 5:30. Just warn you guys. Okay, here we go, Championship.
Paul. Peterborough had a bad start. They were the only 2 teams ever scored in the Championship, but Derby are woeful.
3-0 with thumping.
I listened to Rooney. They drew 1-1 at home with Huddersfield. He wasn't happy with the players. Paul, I think those 2 teams could go down.
Oh, it's a big call.
Draws a player, Paul. Lunchtime kickoff. I won't be watching that one, even though I'll tape it. But, Paul, I'd have to go the draw in that particular game. Barnsley, I can't believe even they drew at Cardiff, but Coventry were really impressed me.
I'm impressed here. Renegade last night. Excuse me. Renegade
in the
last
League
night.
Cup, Paul, they're always, a lot of them don't really want to be in it. They're chopping and changing, playing their squad players. Paul, 29 to 10 Coventry is a big price, but win and draw for Coventry there. But Barnsley played well against Cardiff, but I can't believe the betting. Likewise,
Stoke opened up with a win.
Yeah, they beat Reading, but Reading are struggling. Reading, they won another team. They're a moratorium, can't buy, struggling. I was really impressed with Birmingham, what I saw last week. Tahith Chong, the young Man United loanee. I don't see Birmingham losing that game, Paul, but Stoke City have got some decent players as well. So win and draw Birmingham for me. Paul, I'm all over Cardiff. Blackpool, I know they won 3 in the League Cup last night, but they drew Bristol City. Totally outplayed them, and they scored an injury time, Blackpool. Cardiff will be close to the relegation playoffs, Paul. Mick McCarthy's team. 13 to 10 is a bit short, but I don't see
close to the relegation playoffs.
So who's who?
Closer?
No, I think promotion, Paul.
Oh, promotion,
They'll be right there. They've signed a few players, Cardiff. Blackpool, I think, will be near the bottom. But Cardiff City in a draw for me there.
Fulham need to get their season with a win.
Paul, I said to Steve, they play too nice football.
Yeah.
But away from home, their home form last year in the Premiership, they lost their last 6. They scored 1 goal in their last 10 home games. They've got to beat Huddersfield. Huddersfield are woeful, Paul. But
are they?
Woeful. Yeah. It should be 9 to 10.
They were useful when they had the German guy in charge years ago.
Yes, David Wagner, went to Skull, got fired,
yeah.
And I think he's in Holland now.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. Okay, let's go on. Hull City
promoted. City tortured my Preston boys last week. They scored they scored a couple late. Now, a mate of ours, Neil Horsman, is a QPR fan. He was at the game. Neil, when they drew 1-1 with Millwall, he said a good game. Paul, both teams to score there looks the best bet of the weekend.
Any rorts?
No. It was at Millwall at midweek. I haven't got a report on that game.
Okay, draw we going.
I like a draw in QPR. Middlesbrough, I think, are the best bet in the Championship in the weekend, Paul. I was really impressed with them. Fulham, good side at home.
Yeah.
But they hung in and they could have sneaked it at the end. Bristol City, woeful under Nigel Pearson. I'm surprised after losing 9 of the last 10 home games, he didn't get fired. Hasn't started well.
He started with a draw.
They started with a draw, but
they
Blackpool
just got bummed a year late.
But Middlesbrough, Paul, I was impressed with what I saw. 8 to 10, good things. Millwall, Blackburn. Blackburn sold their main striker, Adam Armstrong, to Southampton. But Millwall at the Den, Paul, there's always both teams to score. I was impressed with Blackburn. They've got a Chilean new centre forward. Came on, looks good. Well, I think it'll be a good game to watch. I don't think it's on, but both teams to score is my play in that particular game.
Forest, Bournemouth.
Paul, I really like what I saw. Bournemouth and West Brom look two good teams, Paul. Disappointed in Forest. Your man, Chris Hughton, scored, parked the bus.
Parked
but
the bus,
a lot of youngsters in the team, Paul. They'll get better, but if Bournemouth want to come straight back, they've got to win this game.
Okay. And
Reading, Preston, two desperate teams, Paul.
Yeah.
Over 2.5 goals. I saw 11 to 10. That's my play.
Starts.
We won in midweek. We beat Mansfield, but Preston struggling, Paul, but likewise Reading. So we went for goals in that particular game. Any result wouldn't surprise me.
West Brom 7 to 10.
Certainties, Paul. I think they're coming back up. If you want to have a bet, back them to automatically or come up automatically and win the league. As long as they keep their players, be too good for Luton. And I like Sheffield United, Paul. 14 to 10, I think it's a big price. I watched Swansea play out from the back against Blackburn. They should have been 5-0 down at half time. Sheffield United, try and play this. 3 at the back, don't work in the Championship, Paul. I think he'll alternate it, Jukanovic. 14 to 10 is my best each way bet for the weekend, Paul.
All right, let's go to MTN8 quarterfinals.
Yeah, Paul, Saturday. The nice thing about it, remember, years gone by, they used to draw. You won the league, you could play anyone. Now it's 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7.
Okay,
They've done it the right way. Paul Arrows, they play Princess Magogo. And speaking to the guys that follow this full time, they're all over Supersport United.
Okay.
Bradley Crobler's back and fit, and they think they can win
10,
the draw is obviously a
Arrow's not a
player.
bad side.
No, Arrow's at home, but
They
they've
finished
lost
ahead
their
of them
coach,
in the league.
and their coach got headhunted by Pirates. He's gone as an assistant
Who's
manager. Mindler McKingwa, something like that. But Coach Simo, the guy that was at Bloemfontein Celtic, he's come into Arrows, and they're always well organised, Paul. But Supersport are a cup team, so don't be surprised if they go through.
Pirates, Swallows.
Paul's got to be Pirates. I did the stats here. Their last 19 league games, Swallows won 1, drew 16, and lost 2. So the draw's a massive player. Pirates played well against Chiefs in the Black Label. Playing Orlando Stadium, you've got to fancy Pirates, Paul, 8 to 10.
Okay. Sundowns are the Kings.
Oh, Paul, this is every Kaiser Chiefs fan that I've spoken to is jumping up and down. They think this is payback. I've got my doubts. Sundowns are a good team. They've had a break, Sundowns.
If you're a Sundowns fan, you take 11 to 10.
But, Paul, Chiefs have improved. Stuart Baxter's gone there. Remember, I think it was 4 weeks ago, they got the Champions League Cup final. They lost to Al Ahly. It'll be a tighter game, Paul, but I wouldn't be... I can't take 5 to 2 Chiefs to upset all the people here that are Chiefs supporters. I think Sundowns will go through, Paul. And I like Amazulu to go through. Benny's done a good job. I know they got beat on penalties in the KZN Cup by Maritzburg last week. But Eric Tinker's back at Cape Town City, Paul.
Yeah, he
so
does
he'll
a good
make
job.
A difference. He's
He
an excellent manager.
Yeah.
But I think Amazulu will sneak through.
All right, let's go to the Soccer Sixers now.
Yeah, Paul, they start off with the Gold Circle Soccer Six, which you've compiled. I've thrown the draw in with Man United against Leeds, Paul.
Okay.
With no confidence. I think Chelsea will be too good for Crystal Palace. I've gone the field with Everton, even though they should win, Paul. Their record, you just can't trust them. I think Leicester will beat Wolves. I don't see Aston Villa losing at Watford. And I've got to go for Liverpool to win at Norwich, Paul, 72 rand. On to our second one, which is the Phumelela Soccer Six. I'm going Orlando Pirates, win and draw against Morocco Swallows. I'm going the field in the Burnley versus Brighton game. I don't see Everton losing at home to Southampton. I think Leicester will beat Wolves. I'm chancing Aston Villa to beat Watford because I'm ending up with the field in the Golden Arrows Supersport fixture 216. On to our Gold Circle Soccer 10. I'm going Man United, win and draw at home against Leeds. I'm going the field in the Peterborough Derby game. Likewise, the Burnley versus Brighton match. I'm bankering Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace. I don't see Everton losing at home to Southampton. My second page, I'm bankering Leicester to beat Wolves. Aston Villa win or draw at Watford. I'm bankering West Brom to beat Luton. Liverpool to win at Norwich. I'm going for Sheffield United win and draw at Swansea 288. On to our Soccer 13 for the weekend. I'm banking Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace. Liverpool to beat Norwich. Everton win and draw at home against Southampton. I'm backing Leicester to be too good for Wolves. Going with Brighton win and draw at Burnley. I think that'll be a draw. I think Aston Villa, had to chance another banker, will beat Watford. I'm going Birmingham City win and draw at home against Stoke City. Our second page, I'm going Cardiff City to avoid defeat at Blackpool. Likewise, Queen's Park Rangers at Hull City. I'm going for Fulham to beat Huddersfield. Millwall win and draw at home against Blackburn. I've thrown the draw in with Bournemouth at Nottingham Forest because I'm bankering Kalmar in the Swedish League to beat Halmstad 231.
All right, Budge, let's look at your best bets.
On to the bets of the weekend, Paul. Our Premiership treble, and I think Arsenal will beat Brentford and there'll be over 2.5 goals. I think Aston Villa will beat Watford, and I fancy West Ham to beat Newcastle, 2,300 to 200. On to the Championship, I'm going Middlesbrough to beat Bristol City, Sheffield United to beat Swansea, and over 2.5 goals in the Reading Preston and West Brom Luton games, 3,200 to 200.
Lovely.
Our team goals only, I'm going Arsenal, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United and West Brom, all to score over 1.5 goals, which is a minimum of 2 goals. I like the odds on that bet, 15 to 1, 3,000 to 200 was our bet. Our both teams to score sides are Barnsley Coventry, Hull City QPR, Millwall Blackburn and Reading Preston, 2,100 to 200. Our Scottish, it's League Cup this weekend. I'm going Aberdeen to beat Raith Rovers, Dundee United to win at Ayr United, and I'm going over 2.5 goals in the Celtic Hearts, Hibernian versus Kilmarnock fixtures, 2,200 to 200. And our Collis King 6 on Exa. I'm going Arsenal to beat Brentford, Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace, Leicester to beat Wolves, Middlesbrough to beat Bristol City, West Brom to beat Luton, and Aberdeen to beat Raith Rovers. 4,000 to 200 or 20 to 1.
Fantastic. Budge, that's good. I'm so pleased it started the last one standing. Don't forget the last one standing. There are 5 guys going into it this weekend from the last one. Next week, we'll at least have seen the form of all these teams in one game, and we can go for it. It's big. It's a great prize. Till next time, stay on side.